You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Mission Log, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast, episode 538, Gravity.
Welcome into another episode of Mission Log, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Matt Myra, sitting in for Norman Lau. Each week on Mission Log, we spend a few hours or a few months with an episode of Star Trek, picking it apart for the morals, meanings, and messages, and asking ourselves if it stands the test of time.
This week, Gravity, the one where a shuttle gets caught in a gravity well, making rescue very difficult, while Tuvok wrestles with the singular weight of his emotions, or lack thereof. Because he's a Vulcan, and he totally doesn't get bothered by his emotions, right?
Well, I've always wondered how Laurie Petty would react to a ship going down, and I got to see it in this episode.
Got to, is it? Yeah, it satisfied that answer. Matt Myra, welcome to the show. For our listeners who may not know your Star Trek bona fides and background, why don't you share a little with them?
Okay, so I first saw Star Trek when I was lifelong Trek fan. There was a point in time where I hosted After Trek on CBS All Access back pre-Paramount Plus days.
Long may she wave. Yeah.
Yes. Will Wheaton took my job ruthlessly.
Yeah, we know what that feels like here. Yep.
Will is... I hate that he's so nice in person and likable, just as a human being, that I really can't actually hold grudges.
Sure.
But yeah, I did that. I host a number of podcasts from back in the day. You might know me from Nerdist. You might know me from James Bonding.
Absolutely.
If you're a Star Trek fan, there's a podcast I do called Star Trek The Next Conversation, which is a podcast I only agreed to do because I thought the title was funny enough. I was like, yes, I'm in. So in my regular life, I write television. I was a writer on the Goldbergs for, 6 seasons.
Nice.
A writer on At Midnight before that.
Well, I really appreciate you sitting in and keeping the seat warm, and we get to have a conversation about Star Trek. You mentioned Nerdist, and that was way back when we launched Mission Log that Rod and I came in to do a bit with Chris.
Yes.
And we will not share publicly that first episode did not get released. And Rod kept wondering why. Can we redo it? Somebody who wants to corner me at a convention sometime, I will tell you the story, but we will not put it on air here.
Just hand out audio, just record cassette tapes of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
But we did do a re-recording at Meltdown Comics, which was so cool.
It was a great place.
That was awesome, and that show exists out there somewhere, so you can find it. Back in the old days when Mission Log was new.
I remember talking to you guys about it and going there's at the time I was like, there's 700 of these, right?
And that was 12 years ago.
Yeah. It's insane. I was gonna say, it's going to take you forever to finish. Yeah. And meanwhile, we did 1,000 episodes of Nerdist, and that's been done for... God, how long has that show been done for? 4 or 5 years, and you guys are still trudging along with your Star Trek.
Still doing it.
I love it.
It's so funny. And we've expanded the Mission Log family quite a bit and doing other kind of side projects as well. But now, of course, there are 12,000 more.
You got to keep Larry Nemecek busy. I get it.
We really do.
If he's left to his own devices, he's just going to write another companion book, and then I'm just going to be like, come on, Larry.
Too much energy. Speaking of cornering at a bar somewhere. Yeah. Are you scheduled for any conventions coming this year?
I will be... I'll be at Star Trek Las Vegas.
Okay.
Which, by the time this airs, probably has... you missed it. It was great, guys.
This comes out the first day of the convention, so...
well, if you're in town, swing by.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello.
There you go.
Head over to the DeForest Kelly stage.
All right. Well, I tell you what, if you would be so kind as to let people know where to reach us, I would appreciate it.
There's multiple ways you can do this, and you don't even have to use a quantum slipstream or anything like that. So you can Mission Log. It's a conversation about Star Trek. You can find the show at Mission Log at Roddenberry.com, and on X and Facebook, that is at Mission Log Pod. While you're at it, review and rate the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform, whether you're on Downcast or Spotify or whatever it is you might be using to fill your ears with talk. Please rate us there. 5 stars is always appreciated. If you're going to give us 4 stars, don't bother. Always remember, your comments could be used on Mission Log or engage on the Roddenberry YouTube channel. Roddenberry Industrial Complex will not be denied.
No, it will not. All right. Well, here I go then. Thank you for that. That
you're very welcome. And now, watch this. Ready? And now, here's John with this week's trivia.
Oh, so professional. All right. This week, Gravity. We have a story by Jimmy Diggs, Brian Fuller, and Nick Sagan. And as always, that is not the full story. The 2 people that pitched the story that would become Counterpoint only a few episodes ago, Laura Van Vliet and Gregory L. Norris, they actually were the ones who pitched something along the lines of a story that pitted logic and emotion against each other. And it was Nick Sagan who was intrigued by it and then fleshed out this story with Jimmy and Brian. Now, ultimately, the teleplay credit went to Nick Sagan and Brian Fuller, but there is someone else who deserves a little creative credit here, too, and he is Tim Russ. It was Tim who came up with the idea for the rather poignant ending, letting a mind meld do all the talking, and the writers love the idea. Isn't that nice? And I'm a big proponent on Mission Log of show, don't tell.
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek.
As a writer,
yeah.
If you can get away with not having to write lines, yeah, let's do that.
See, I'm so glad that you said that, because I feel like very often Star Trek loves to tell.
I mean, I would say that the Star Trek's never been more proud of its words than it currently is.
Yeah.
But I would say that there is, since I've been watching Star Trek since I was a kid, and I just think about now as an adult human being who has to write television, I can't pull off a Picard speech. I can't do it.
Right.
I don't want to be tasked with that. I don't want to be tasked with closing the book on now what we've learned about Vulcan emotion suppression. Like, I don't want to do that.
I kept thinking about that, just, especially a Picard speech.
Oh, my God.
Just picturing the writer's room and picturing these young guys, Brannon, Ron, and Renee, and all, like really crafting these incredible speeches and just thinking, there is no way I could do that. Certainly not week after week. There's a magic to it. Yeah. All right, this episode is directed by Terry Wendell, and this is the first time we are seeing Terry's name in the credits for Star Trek. He actually came from a background of visual effects with some very impressive movies like E.T., Ghostbusters, 2010, The Year We Make Contact, and Poltergeist. Now, he worked his way up into directing, first with commercials and then episodic TV. Terry will stick around through Voyager's end with 9 more episodes under his belt and then jump over to Enterprise for 1 more. Matt, I love a good location. And when you have the best location, you don't change the best location. You go back to Vasquez Rocks.
It's right there, guys. It's just a short trek up the 170, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You've been there, right?
I have been there. I've been there. You just have to. You have to see where the Gorn fought Kirk. It's just a rite of passage for any human being who lives in Los Angeles.
It's a stunning place.
It's like you got to see that, and then you got to see the Burger King that Marty skated in front of at the beginning of Back to the Future.
Yes, absolutely.
It's on Victory Boulevard in Burbank, in case you're wondering.
Yep, there you go. All right, let's meet our guest stars. We have a few returning guest stars, and while it is technically the first appearance for Leroy D. Brazil here as young Tuvok, we have already met him in an episode of DS9 that aired a few months after this episode of Voyager in The Dogs of War, where Leroy played the young Cardassian Lonar. Paul Eckstein is under the heavy prosthetics here as Yost, the leader of the aliens, making their way to seal in that spatial rift. We've seen Paul before, also in various alien guises in DS9 and earlier in Voyager. He has played a Jem'Hadar in Rocks and Shoals, and recently for us, a Hirogen in The Killing Game, Parts 1 and 2. Oh, yeah. And we have a classic TOS actor returning here with Joseph Ruskin as young Tuvok's Vulcan master. And you cannot forget him as Galt in The Gamesters of Triskelion. But then he came back to more of Trek in the 90s as a Klingon and a Cardassian in DS9. And he was one of the Sonai in the movie Star Trek Insurrection.
That's ironically, I think that the Sona... the outfit that Lori Petty is wearing throughout this episode, it looks like a Sona costume.
It absolutely does. Yeah,
I feel like it was like they just went to the rack and were like, "We'll use this for them."
Oh yeah,
right.
And and that was reciprocal because like the huge set that they built for. The one where the Doctor is 700 years in the future.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will get letters. You all know the episode I'm thinking of. That set was built for Voyager, but then they took it over to the movies, and they redressed that for the Sona ship. So
beautiful.
There you go. There you go.
It.
Yeah, living witness. There we go.
There it is.
You cannot send me letters. Yeah, I know. It's weird like that. If I vamped long enough, I knew it would come to me. So now finally, we have a first-time Trek guest actor in Lori Petty, who plays Nos. Now, to me, she is absolutely best known for playing the titular role in the 1995 movie Tank Girl, but you also cannot forget her appearance in A League of Their Own and more TV guest roles and voiceover roles than we can possibly mention here. Now, she also had a long recurring role on Orange is the New Black alongside our very own captain here on Voyager. Lori is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Shout out to my mom's side of the family, and stays busy acting to this day.
Welcome to the Delta Quadrant. If you want to say you've been through the desert on a Zaylat with no name, you're on the right planet.
Prologue. Flashback to a time on Vulcan when an insolent young Tuvok was wrestling with his own adolescent emotions, throwing off a good deal of attitude toward a Vulcan master. Tuvok vows to question everything the master tells him, especially about burying those adolescent emotions, but the master replies that he wouldn't be a good student if he didn't. Act 1. In the present, we find ourselves on a barren desert planet. An alien woman named Nos is scavenging when she spots a crashed shuttle from USS Voyager. There she encounters Tom Paris, and after a tense standoff and the lack of a working universal translator, steals his supplies. After she leaves, Tuvok rescues Nos from a gang of alien marauders and brings her back to the shuttle. Despite language barriers, they start to form a tentative alliance. The shuttle is badly damaged, and Tuvok, Tom, and Nos relocate to Nos's crash site, which is more secure. Tom repairs the Doctor's mobile emitter since he was with them on the Doomed Away mission, and it just so happens that the Doctor's universal translator is working, allowing him to communicate with Nos and learn about her long, lonely survival on the planet. Act 2. As time passes, Tom struggles with the weird local crab spider cuisine under Nos's tutelage. Meanwhile, Tuvok and Nos grow closer, sharing stories and meals of those terrible crab spiders. Tom notices Nos's romantic interest in Tuvok and suggests Tuvok reciprocate since they are stranded, but Tuvok is resolute in his emotional discipline despite the obvious strain. In another flashback, young Tuvok reveals his turmoil over a girl named Jara, leading his master to push him further into controlling his emotions. Act 3. Hey, remember Voyager? They're still around. Captain Janeway and the crew have been searching for the lost shuttle for, a whole hour or so by now? They find it trapped in the gravity well of a subspace sinkhole, name check, new band name, and realize to their surprise that time is moving much slower for the shuttle crew. They devise a plan using a multispatial probe to contact and rescue their crewmates. However, an alien vessel appears, threatening to close the rift and trap the shuttle crew forever. Act 4. Back on the desert planet, Tom returns from an expedition with a severely injured Tuvok. The doctor treats him, and Nas's concern deepens her feelings. She tries to kiss Tuvok, but he pushes her away, leading to a heartfelt confrontation about his inability to reciprocate her feelings. Voyager's crew, meanwhile, races against time and time dilation to transport their friends back by teching the tech with a multispatial probe rigged up for two great tastes at once, a comms relay to get a message through, and transporter relay. On the planet, Tuvok on a rock meditates while Tom chastises him for breaking Nas's heart. Some good news comes as Voyager's message gets through to the away team and can beam them back in 2 days on the planet's timeline, but the situation grows dire as those alien marauders come back to attack. Act 5. In space, those other aliens are doing what they can to seal up the sinkhole, while Voyager counts down to activate the transporter and relay. In a tense showdown, Nas repairs the force field while under attack, but Tuvok rescues her when she is overtaken by one of the aliens. As the countdown on Voyager reaches its final seconds, Tuvok and Paris fend off the aliens and gather around the distress beacon with the Doctor and Nas. Lucky for them, they are all beamed up just in time. Sometime later, Voyager is en route to Nas's homeworld. Tuvok bids her a restrained farewell in the transporter room, and using a mind meld, he finally conveys his true feelings. That night, Tuvok meditates, reflecting on his emotional journey, and that returns him to the flashback with his Vulcan master. As young Tuvok completes his training, mastering his emotions and preparing to face the world with the wisdom of Idic, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. The end.
Well, when you describe it like that...
You got to relive the whole thing.
I feel like I was there again. And
you did? Yeah.
I had so many questions that popped up, and I was like writing things
Good.
feverishly.
That's what I want you to do. Did you do it the old-fashioned way with pen and paper?
I did. I literally, a blue pen, folded paper. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man, I love that. I love that. Well, look, I'm just going to say right away, I love when Voyager gets weird, which they do often, and I love when they decide to kind of break the initial expectations of the audience with the show. Hey, you know what? We're going to start with a flashback. Not even going to show you where the ship is, not going to tell you where or when we are in time. We're just going to do this thing, and it's moody and cool, and you have insolent young Tuvok.
I mean, they've prepped us for this, right? Because we've had a number of Tuvok flashbacks, either via... what was it? There was that one where the parasite brought a false memory, and we thought we were flashing back to Tuvok. There's the one where he's got we see Sulu on the Excelsior, and Janeway's there. The logic of that makes very little sense, actually, when you're thinking about it. So don't think about it.
Yeah, don't think about that one. We even had Tuvok selling his dark psyche on the black market of an alien planet.
Oh, right.
There's some twisted stuff going on in that Vulcan noggin.
Well, it's interesting too. When you think about this series, it's the first main cast Vulcan since Spock.
Yeah.
Canonically. Yeah. And that the writers have had to deal with. So all the vague questions that fans have, and that, you have when you're writing a character, it's like, well, okay, but does he really feel emotion and is just burying it? Or is this more of a thing where they actually aren't equipped to handle emotion? Is it more of a mental, we're putting on this mental block kind of a thing? So there's all these subtleties that TOS never really had to explain.
Yeah.
Then it gets left in the hands of these writers, and also I think to a large degree the Enterprise writers filling into Paul.
Oh yeah.
like crazily. Like they had so much legwork to do with that.
But I kind of love that because if we all accepted that Spock was this psyche of turmoil trying to deal with his Vulcan half and his human half, and we can allow him these moments of feeling a little more emotional or feeling a little less emotional or really conflicted and really lashing out, and then you get to a full-blooded Vulcan like Tuvok and you go, oh no, wait, they're really messed up on the inside.
Yeah.
And they've had to do a lot of work to push all that stuff down.
Oh man, McCoy would have really had it with Tuvok, let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I do like we both love the location. Hard to go wrong with Vasquez Rocks. And look, CGI from the 90s is very hit or miss. I like this little CGI crab spider thing.
Well, you know what? That didn't even bump me. So great job.
No,
That's
okay.
all, you know what I mean? So
All
like when
right.
when I watch something that doesn't bump me as CG or whatever, I go,
Yeah.
oh, all right, nicely done.
Yeah.
Even the crashing of the shuttle, I thought was a good visual.
Oh, yeah.
Like just to see it, like where it breaks apart and what sort of happens to that shuttle. I found a TV budget with optical effects. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's digital, right? That's digital. That was
That was digital, but even then, I mean, you're talking about digital effects in the 90s, and it's very
on
expensive.
on UPN.
Yeah.
It's like, where's this budget coming from?
No, right.
That's the thing I'll say about Star Trek now. It's like you watch any of those, and it is just like the most beautiful space thing you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like modern day Star Trek, it is incredible. It's incredible, the stuff they do. Even when they... My favorite thing about Generations was when they were next to the Amargosa star, they let the light of the star fill the rooms.
And I the name escapes me, but it was the same DP who shot Chinatown. And everything in Generations, love or hate the movie, but it has this very painterly effect. And it's stunning. Yeah.
It's how I imagine the ship always looked, but we never got to see it that way.
Yeah.
Just because how we were... I just think that that version of the Enterprise D, that's sort of... And look, I don't want to... I'm going back in my brain now of like, well, in Picard Season 3, I don't know why it wasn't the Generations version of the bridge with the consoles there, but then again, I guess if Geordi's fixing it up, he's going to make it whichever bridge he feels like making it.
Sure, yeah.
Because those bridge modules, in canon, correct me if I'm wrong, bridge modules are replaceable.
Yes.
They will just plop them out at Space Dock and just drop in a new one, right?
Totally.
So,
yep.
All right. So I get what you're after, Geordi, but like, also for him to be like, I borrowed the star drive, like that's his part of the ship. That's his own. That's his part of the ship.
Yeah.
You got to know it's not the D. You got to know it's not. His quarters aren't even on the saucer section.
He and a hologram Leah Brahms figured that out.
I do like that they still are like, we're not going to mention the Leah Brahms thing. That was Q's idea. I just don't, we don't know who Commodore LaForge is married to at that point. Anyway.
Right. But here we are in a desert planet.
Yes, desert planet.
Yes, yeah. Which, by the way, did you have thoughts? I had thoughts of both Darmok and Enemy Mine at the beginning. When I first rewatched this episode, I thought, are they going to do this pretense the whole time? Are we going to have failure to communicate the whole time? Which we get past pretty quickly.
Yes, and they do it in a way that is, I think, a little more annoying than it needed to be.
Yeah?
I think it should have been more like... I'm not saying do a Hunt for Red October where you zoom in on the lips when he says Armageddon. It's the same word in both languages, but like...
Yes.
But like, I feel like once you find out the Doctor can do it, can speak the language, then I think, the next scene, she's just speaking English.
Yeah.
Because to me, it feels like I get it, she's outnumbered by English speakers, but she went to the effort of learning the language. And these guys didn't bother.
Yeah, fair.
But then again, it's like, Paris is not going to bother learning the language.
I would say, or the episode is twice as long, and every time she says something, they have to look at the Doctor. What did she say? Okay, tell her this.
That could be very funny, though.
Just the whole thing.
The
like
doctor
that.
like right behind her and Tuvok and going like, she loves you. That would be great.
There you go. He gets a nice line, I'm a doctor, not a battery. You know,
That is good.
Gotta fit in a little bit of
In
that.
your mind, John,
Yes.
how does the universal translator function in daily Star Trek life?
Man, okay, because look, we've seen Little Green Men, and we know that those Ferengi have a chip in their, like a physical thing in their heads. They can smack on the side, and it like either broadcasts or has a neural link into their brains. Okay, but the universal translator is the comm badge. So to me, it's like I say something to you, and then the comm badge comes on, and you hear a little version of my voice saying something in a different language, and it's broadcasting.
But the thing is, like, so I'm always like, well, is the universal translator playing fast and loose with intention and sarcasm?
100% at all
Because
times.
There's never a minute in my house where, because my son's 5 and he loves talking to Alexa now, the Amazon robot. And there's no sarcasm in Alexa's voice when she's reading something back or whatever. Not that there needs to be, but it's just there's just some real lack of any feeling or humanity. And I wonder if that's sort of the case in Star Trek. Also, if it works the way you say, where the comm badge is translating versus not translating.
I think everybody can hear it. Yeah.
Sure. But, like, how... There's always that beat where they're like, Picard to Riker, you need to leave the shuttle in, 20 minutes. And then he starts yammering on to whoever's next to him.
Yes! Yeah! Absolutely.
Does Riker go, that last part's not for me? Okay.
Well, look, it's by the same AI that opens and closes the doors on a starship.
Right,
because
so knows when to have dramatic pause.
Yes, they are intention-aware doors. Yeah. So you walk up to the door, but you're not finished saying the important thing. You turn around, you say it to somebody, and then the door goes like, oh, okay, that was a good place to end the scene.
Yeah. I've always felt the doors always know what would make the best scene transition.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to somebody with the communicator badge going like, okay, I'm hanging up now.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to turn over here. I'm talking to Data now. Data's right here.
Right. This part is definitely not for you.
Computer.
Yeah.
So then, so is it a voice? So in your mind, is it like if I'm speaking English?
Yeah.
The comm badge. Let's say the comm badge is going to Andorian dignitary.
Sure.
Is he now hearing my voice speaking Andorian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not like there's like pick your voice and that's the voice you hear from everybody.
Not like that. No, I think the system is that good that it's replicating the voice along with it.
Sure.
And maybe that Andorian dignitary is like, well, your accent's not so good, but it sounds like you. It sounds like you trying this,
So then you wonder who speaks English and who doesn't on board a starship.
I think, and this might be a book thing, but I think we're going back to the old Federation standard. Mm-hmm. Isn't that
which is English? Correct?
It's got to be English,
yeah.
Or it's Esperanto because William Shatner, of course, did a whole movie in Esperanto. So have your pick.
Noted. All right. So, but then it's not okay. But when it's not working, that means the comms are down, right? So when Paris states that the universal translator must not be working, that must mean that his comm badge is not functioning.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Which it wouldn't matter anyway because they can't contact the ship. It would just be a matter of contacting Tuvok. Yeah.
I always went with the Ferengi thing. I always just assumed at Starfleet Academy
they just bury it in your head.
We're like, here you go, bud. Here's one. Have a great time.
Now you're Starfleet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know where you are at all times.
We put the chip in your head. You're good to go.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a second here. I want to ask you, what do you make of Tom's presumption to have this conversation with the Tuvok about, like, hey, you've been gone for a couple of weeks. You'll never see your wife again. Just go for it, dude.
It's so Tom Paris-y.
But is it?
I would call it Tom Parasitic. There's an aspect to the character of Tom Paris that is written like he's a 50s high school bully.
Yeah.
He is written to, like fast cars and like even like in the holodeck when he's working on whatever that was, a GTO or Camaro or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a Camaro.
Yeah.
And his love of like the old serials, the character himself, like the womanizing sort of aspect of him where he's trying to get Harry to go to Lookout Point with the Delaney sisters, that season 1 and 2 of Paris.
But here we are in season 5, and he's got this relationship, and
which means the world to him, as we saw in the episode where they get buried. The Delta Flyer gets buried under 30 miles of rock,
right?
And he's like saying his goodbye messages about the pizza. His way of saying, "B'Elanna, I'm going to miss you." But he is like emotionally, like this is affecting him, and I think like this is Tom's way of suppressing his own emotion in the sense of like, hey, if I could get you to hook up with her, I can take my mind off of the fact that my future wife is maybe never going to see me again.
All right.
Like, I'm going to live vicariously through you. Yeah. So may your gravitational pull find its way to the bone zone.
It's a bit of projection.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought it was so weird because they keep trying to mold Tom into this new thing, and like, no, he's family man Tom now. It's so like the Tom Paris character. Every other interaction, so like character beat wise with B'Elanna, they'll just flip it to whoever's having the bad week in the mess hall. What do we call it? What do they call it on Voyager? It's a mess hall, or Neelix's terrible
Neelix
kitchen.
Neelix is whatever. They'll always, so one of them has to be blowing up at the other, and she's got the double fire of a Latina and a Klingon.
Yeah.
But the arrogance of Tom sometimes is like I just find the character of Tom Paris I just find to be so
insufferable,
not funny. Like thinks he's funny but isn't funny. It's like says things sometimes to Harry where I'm like, whoa, why are you being like that?
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Well, if they get stuck with the thing of like, all right, season 1 Tom is really rough because we just got him out of jail. He's got these daddy issues. And then they'll give these little hints about how he has grown up and how he's gotten past this and how Voyager has made him a better person. And then like, nah, but we forgot it because he's trying to, talk his buddy here into something he doesn't want to do anyway.
I mean, the fact that he doubles down on it in that scene where Tuvok's meditating, I'm just like, just leave it be. Just they're two adults. They can figure it out.
Yeah. I like that that shot. I love, I mean, if you're going to go out there to Vasquez Rocks and you're not using the same angled things that they had before, Tuvok sitting up there, the sun, I mean, that was beautiful. Really nicely done. And then we have an unfortunate conversation about getting Tom pushing his way into Tuvok's inner life, which is
see the way she looks at you, man. That's how girls used to look at me.
Yeah. All right, and you called it on one of the 47s, so we have a 0.4744 second variation per minute, right? Mm-hmm. But then they also were 11 hours Wait, 2 days, 11 hours, and 47 seconds from the beam out. Okay, which, by the way, I did you notice it, or did you even care? End of Act 4, going into Act 5, they're like, we've got 2 days and 11 hours and 47 seconds, and the aliens are attacking us, and we need to shore up the force field. Cut to, we get back from commercial break. Okay, we're ready to beam up. I'm like, wasn't it 2 days? Wait?
It looked like everything had sort of fallen apart around them.
Okay.
So I think they're all like you're beaming up their immense guilt as well for the murders they've committed.
Yes.
Luckily, it's a 2-meter spread.
Okay.
Because you can pick up some of the some of the guilt they're going to be carrying.
Very good. I did wonder though. There's guilt. I had a really disturbing thought because of the time dilation, everything moving much slower on the planet, and it taking 2 days, 11 hours, 47 seconds. But the transporter is like 30 seconds. Hit go. Time to beam them in. Does it just slowly rip them apart atom by atom, and they're down there in front of the thing just going,
in horrible pain.
Oh, boy, it would be nice to get back.
Well, hang on. Let's see. If they get the message from Voyager and that message is incredibly slow, then I would assume the beam out process would be agonizing.
Yes. Just hold on. Just stand here.
It would be very agonizing.
Yeah.
I will say one thing I like about Voyager as a whole. I always say that if I needed a captain and we're just going off on a 5-year mission, it wasn't like heavily diplomatic where I'd take Picard. It wasn't going to be a heavy combat situation where I would take Sisko. I would take Janeway as my best overall captain.
Yep. 100%.
But what I love about Janeway's character, and I love that the writers, I would say most of the time, remember she was a science officer.
That's true. Yeah.
And what you get on Voyager, what you don't get on the other series, is she is the one problem solving.
Yeah.
She is the one who tells B'Elanna how to get out of that gravity well.
Yeah.
Release this and then do that, and then you're no problem. Because there's no science officer on Voyager. You can pretend that it's Harry, but it's not.
Yeah, 7 now is the closest that you've got.
Yes.
But it's definitely not Harry.
But even still, I love that Janeway has not forgotten everything she knew about she was a science officer, for Christ's sake. So now you get this. It's interesting to have a captain that was in blue their whole life. Yeah. And then when she became first officer, I assume was when she switched over to red. But like that moment where she's telling B'Elanna how to get out of there, I'm like, you're not going to get another, unless it's like a hunch, you're not going to get another captain telling your chief engineer how to get out of something.
Right. Well, and she's one of the few who's actually good at it, because every time there's a crisis in Star Trek, when you're starting the story, you always hear about the science vessel being the one that gets destroyed with all hands lost.
Sure.
So she's the one who made it like, no, I can do this and I can be a great captain.
What is the Vulcan equivalent of a grasshopper? Because that could have been young Tuvok's nickname.
We'll be back to feeling gravity's pull after a word from this week's sponsor, ExpressVPN.
Hey, I've got a scenario, a little metaphor here that might sound familiar to you. You might have heard us say it here on the show one time before, but going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your laptop unattended at the coffee shop while you run into the bathroom. Now, most of the time, you might be fine. But what if one day you come out of the bathroom and your laptop is gone? I will tell you, there was one time in my life when it was kind of empty, and I just thought, you know what, I don't want to pack all of this up while I just go in for a moment and come back out. But no, that would have been crazy for me to do that. Everybody needs a VPN. So think of it this way, Earl, and all of you listening, every time you connect to an unencrypted network, whether it's in a cafe or a hotel or an airport, wherever is not home for you, your online data is simply not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access and steal your personal data, whether that be passwords or bank logins, credit card details, if you're buying something, you name it.
It doesn't take a huge amount of technical knowledge to hack someone. Look, there are walkthroughs to show people how to do this. A kid could do it.
And here's the thing, that kid, that hypothetical kid, they could get, say, upwards of $1,000 per person just by selling personal information on the dark web. And ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The reason people steal is because they think they can do it easily. It's a low-effort thing for them. But the encryption on ExpressVPN is so secure that even a hacker with a supercomputer would need over 1 billion years to crack that encryption. And, I'm going to say most people who are looking for an easy score don't have that kind of time.
I know I don't have that kind of time. So, yeah, no. And I expect somebody trying to make $1,000 doesn't have that kind of time. It doesn't work out per hour.
Yeah, but what does work is you can just fire up the app, click one button, boom, you're protected. ExpressVPN is working for you. Works on all your devices, tablets, phones, laptops, you name it. Install the app on everything you use, everything you take with you, and you have security on the go.
And it's not just us saying it. ExpressVPN is rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. But you know what? If you are just listening to me say it, I'll say it again that I use ExpressVPN. And I definitely, you know what? I'll give you all a little tip. Here's a little hint on how I use it. Now, there are certain apps, particularly with sensitive data like travel information, bank information, anything financially related, that I know that I want to launch ExpressVPN with that. And it's so simple just by using one button. I made it even simpler. I created an automation on my phone so that when those apps launch, it automatically loads ExpressVPN. And when I close the app, it automatically closes ExpressVPN. That simple. So I know that I want to keep my information secure and secret and protected from hackers or any bad actors out there. I want to make sure that no matter where I go, my data is secure, and that's why I use ExpressVPN.
You too can secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/missionlog. That's expressvpn.com/missionlog, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/missionlog.
So we brought it up a little bit in the last segment. One of the things that I kind of thought of in watching this episode is I thought at first, because I did not remember watching this episode way back when. I know that I've watched all of Voyager, but for Mission Log, that's a studied thing. I'm watching it 3-4 times, and I did not remember when I put this in what actually was at the heart of the show. And I thought, we're doing a thing about language and about this kind of first contact situation and trying to meet the enemy, quote unquote enemy, where they are and how to survive. I think it's going to be one of those kind of stories, like little shades of Darmok, like I said before. But then it really goes into this whole other direction, and the B plot is just the escape, what's going on with Voyager, beam them out of there, tech the tech. But I would say that the A story is everything going on in Tuvok's mind. Or you might flip those and say, okay, there's, that's the B story, whatever.
No, it's the A. It's the A story because that's what the cold open is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The cold open,
Yeah.
It's always going to dictate the A story in every episode of Star Trek / most of television.
Yeah.
Usually do the cold open with the A story. So what they're telling you there, by the way they cut the episode, is this we're exploring Tuvok and his what do I call it, Vulcanness?
Yeah, his being 100% Vulcan and his dedication to. By the way, I almost thought at first, like in the flashback, I got the implication that Vulcans get to choose how much or how little emotion they have. Think about Spock going through Kolinar. Right. At the beginning of Motion Picture. And he's trying to purge every last emotion. Now, he's a special case. He's part human.
Right.
It's difficult for him. I get it. But he's a grown man. He's an adult at that point. He's been out there and had a life. Here's young Tuvok, and I wonder, do Vulcans get kind of a Rumspringa sort of thing where they said, okay, you have these emotions. You're a teenager. Now you can choose. But if they don't choose to go this Vulcan path, what do they do? They all end up like Cybok? What do? They just leave and
right? Do they end up as
something
outcasts, or do they go rejoin the Romulan Empire? Like, what is happening? Like, is this like? It's. I always assumed that this was more of a like this discussion that Tuvok is having with his master and this or the teacher. To me, I always pictured that happening in a big schoolroom of Vulcans. Do you know what I mean? Like, I pictured it being like a thing where this is just taught from day one. This is what we're going to talk about today. This is the emotion part of the day. We'll do math later.
Yeah.
But with this particular case, it really feels like Tuvok has been sent, like this is boot camp.
Right.
So he's been sent off to Vulcan boot camp, which is a sacred cave with some emotion purging to come.
Yeah.
But like then I wondered to myself, like, how many of these teachers are there?
Yeah. Seems to be one-on-one right
yes,
now.
exactly. Yeah. And I got to tell you, the Vulcans are as prolific at having children as I assume they are, at least every 7 years. They're going to pop off an offspring. Like, you're going to have a lot of moody teens.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't think this guy can handle everybody.
Well, and do we want... Like, we have to assume that everybody who ascends to a certain position on Vulcan is good at the thing they do. Like, yes, we've met some Vulcans who are maybe not as honorable as other Vulcans, but if this guy is a Vulcan master and he's philosophically, the best of the best. But I wonder, man, I wrote this line down because it was so disturbing. Love is the most dangerous emotion of all. And I just, okay, does every Vulcan master say that, first of all? Or is this a thing, to your point, does this just come up when you're 3, 4, 5 years old and you're finally putting words together and they sit you down for breakfast every morning before sending you off to preschool? Yeah. By the way, young Tuvok, remember, love is the most dangerous emotion of all.
Wash behind your pointed ears. Yeah. And love is the most dangerous emotion of all. We'll see you later.
Yeah. But to me, so this was the kind of thing that, all right, we always say this on Mission Log, that, look, there is no Enterprise, there is no Voyager, there is no Janeway, there is no...
Why would you say that?
I spread lies like that? I brought you on here just to break it to you.
How dare you? What? No, come on, guys. It's real. It's all real.
More importantly, there are no Vulcans, so everything that we get out of our look at Vulcans is ultimately about us. You know? So every alien species is a mirror to us. And so far, when it comes to Vulcans, that mirror has been... Well, it's been pretty admirable, actually, because it says, hey, humans, here are these emotional things that you do that probably get in your way and make you make bad decisions, and you might destroy yourselves. But look at this more logical, more scientifically minded species. They do these things that are really right. But then every now and then, you turn the mirror around and you go, but don't do too much, because you end up like this guy who says that love is dangerous and you need to tamp down these emotions entirely.
It's interesting. It's like I get the sentiment of like love because it's such a strong emotion.
Yeah.
And like he says this is this is the part where my brain has a hard time not being a TV writer.
Yeah.
Because I picture not the wisdom of an old Vulcan, but I picture 5 or 6 people wanting to go to lunch.
Yeah.
and these words being pumped out.
Yeah.
And you're just sort of, you go, this sounds like, yeah, all right, love's, emotion, okay, great. And then particularly on an episode where there's multiple story by, teleplay by, this reeks of group writing.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately go for the most dramatic thing. Go for the height of the emotion or the height of the drama here.
Yes. I think with the idea of like just I don't experience emotion, like when he says, I told you I don't experience emotion. Yeah. And you point this out in your notes.
Yeah,
I'll let you say it.
Yeah, right. That is the single biggest Vulcan lie of all time.
That is all they're doing all day.
All day
they're experiencing emotion, and they're just like shutting it down.
Yeah,
it's such, and also the hubris of the Vulcans too, where they're just like, you dumb humans, you don't even.
Yeah.
We don't have to waste our time with those things. And he's like, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry.
Well, for Vulcans who say that they don't lie as well.
Oh, sure.
But then they say, I don't experience emotion. That is a very different thing from saying, I have very complex, very extreme emotions that I need to keep in check at all times. So I have done this thing with mental discipline.
And that has always been sort of how I viewed the Vulcans. I viewed the Vulcans as a particularly passionate race.
Yeah.
A race that had almost, like, I would love to see Vulcan opera. Like, I would love to see what those stories were before they decided, let's purge emotion. But, like, they're so emotional that there's no functional society unless they're like, we got to pull this back a little bit.
Yeah.
We can't act like we're in Vanderpump Rules all the time.
Right.
Like, they're just like constantly living in a reality show on Vulcan because everyone, I'm saying, instead of playing it up for the cameras, everyone is that emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you'd be like walking down the street ducking glasses that are being thrown at angry partners. It's just like, I think that their society would collapse in on itself had they not.
Yes, but here's where I kind of want to take young Tuvok, and instead of like this Vulcan master saying like, yeah, the problem is you have emotions, and the problem is you're in love, and you just can't do that because Tuvok admits to being nearly destroyed by his emotional attraction to a woman. But here's the thing, like, you've got a 5-year-old. Mm-hmm. That 5-year-old one day is going to be 13, 14, 15 years old, going to have his first crush, going to have his first love, whatever, and those are really strong, really intense emotions.
Yes.
And you feel like it's the end of the world when one of those things ends or changes or whatever. And I want to take young Tuvok and say, yeah, man, this is really tough. And Jara's probably pretty great. And that's probably not going to happen. But you will find love again, and you will be okay. But the Vulcans have now codified, like, taking this moment that presumably everybody experiences and saying, yeah, that right there is the problem. And if we get rid of the problem, then not only will you be okay, but we can function as a society. Like, that is a huge amount of pressure, and this feels like this very puritanical view of emotional attraction, sexual attraction. You know, I thought of the, of course, the famous Jimmy Carter quote, admitting that he had lusted in his heart, and this was like a watershed thing. It was important for him, and then it became important in the election of 1976, where it was like, whoa, this is a serious confession by this guy who holds so closely to his values. How can we ever reconcile the two? You know?
Right.
Yeah. For as much respect as I have for the Vulcans, these moments just make me think like, man, they are so stunted in so many ways.
Well, it's also like, and that's when you get into the Enterprise years and you're watching the superiority over the human race that they are conducting because they finally have met their match for emotional roller coasters.
Yeah, right.
It's just like they are holding back the space program. They're doing whatever it is that they're doing, and it's an interesting way to look at the lens of Star Trek, the eventual utopia we get into.
Well, and look, that's the worst thing about their mastery of logic is that you can take a position that you arrived at for purely, deeply emotional reasons and then create an impenetrable logic wall around it. And that's what they do.
Call it a hunch, but maybe don't take relationship advice from a guy who left his subspace salamander children behind.
All right, we have arrived at the place we always do in every episode of Mission Log, where we've kicked around the ideas a little bit, the fun stuff, the serious stuff, and then we get to ask ourselves if the episode holds up and if we learned anything from it. So, Matt, as the guest here, when we pose this question, does the episode hold up? That is a purposely very vague question, because here's the thing. You may love the story, but maybe the execution gets in the way and you can't take it, or vice versa. Maybe great production saves a story that's lacking. So, we leave it up to you. And when I say to you, does this episode hold up? Gravity, well, what do you think?
Well, here's how I look at every Star Trek episode.
Okay.
I look at every Star Trek episode like it's playing in a marathon on BBC America or the Sci-Fi Channel.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm flipping the channels.
Yeah.
And I land on a channel, and I look, and oh my goodness, Voyager is playing. It's Gravity.
Uh-huh.
I go, how many commercial breaks can they hold me for? An episode like Gravity
Okay.
is going to have a hard time of holding my personal attention
Okay.
in the way that I like to view Star Trek.
Yeah.
I often find away missions where there is a stranded shuttle. I find those to be a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens, it's a lot of the same. Survival in a desert planet. The episode where Picard is falling in love with the woman who's testing that race that's testing the whole crew, seeing how mad they can get Worf and seeing. Then there's like the Wesley and Picard going across the desert.
Oh, the first dude? No.
The final mission.
Final mission.
Right?
There we go. Yeah.
And all of these desert away team episodes sort of blend together.
Yeah.
I think that what it does very well is it gives you an understanding of Vulcan emotion, Tuvok's emotion, and what Tuvok does with that emotion. So on that level, it holds up. But on will it hold my attention for more than one commercial break on a BBC America marathon? No. So
I think that's really a fair way to look at it, because all the stuff with Tuvok is super strong, and I love Tim Russ as an actor, and I think he is as good as he is in Voyager. I think they could have treated him even better. We lost a lot of the dynamic that we had with him in season 1.
He is
Janeway.
The best Vulcan.
Yeah.
As far as I'm going to be playing a Vulcan, you should always look to Tim Russ's performance before you look at anybody else's.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible. So I think you could even distill this little journey of Tuvok's, and you could make that into a short story. The episode feels disjointed when you have, as you do, you have to get back to Voyager, you have to have some action in there, you have to do it. But just the look at his psyche, I think is great. I love location filming. I love a desert planet. This is one of the few times that they've played with time dilation, time distortion, where it actually has some meat on the bones, you know, so that's kind of cool. Oddly enough, we just recorded a Trek Files where Gene was giving a speech, I think, in the 70s, and he says something about all the scientific premises, and he's like, look, yeah, I wanted to be true to the science, but I also threw it out because I'm an artist, you know? Yeah. And he said, and one of the things he addressed was like, yeah, that whole thing about time changing when you hit light speed. Yeah, we ignored that, you know? Like, good. It's nice to hear it from you.
It existed in a bubble. It's a warp bubble. They figured it out.
Yeah. So, this is one of those episodes where I kind of go back and forth on it. You know, what is it about this that kind of hits the limits of 90s TV, and where are they stretching those limits a little bit? I like not getting to Voyager until Act 3. I like it when they kind of mess with your expectation a bit. And like I said, I love the Tuvok psychology stuff. It's well produced. I think the acting is good, as it generally is on Voyager, and especially when you give more material to a guy like Tim Russ. But you mentioned Lori Petty earlier, and you mentioned the difference in how you reacted to her at first and how you reacted to her later. Tell me about that.
Well, I think at first you're just like, there's something was in the water in the mid to late 90s.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you think of, like, Jodie Foster and Nell.
Yep.
And you think of this Lori Petty character in Voyager, it's this sort of language barrier performance that is, I don't know if there is an overact ability. Like, I don't know if you can overact this.
Right.
But if you can.
Right.
It's right there. It's like it is right there. It's a situation where you're just like, oh God, please fix the universal translator. Like, please, story-wise, please fix this so we don't have to hear it. Then when it transitions to she is speaking English, and like some of the syntaxes are off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just have waved it away off camera.
Yeah.
And have her speak normally. Don't throw the syntax things in there. Don't, just have her speak normally so I don't feel like it's like an adult talking to a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's I kept going back and forth with the same thing when I was watching this, where at first I just thought, okay, we're shaping this quirky, weird character, and that's just going to get old really fast. And it is no slight to Lori Petty. It's just, okay, we're experimenting with this strange alien thing, and here's how it's going to come across. But I have to give her credit here as an actor, because as grating as that might be to some people in the audience, and as much of a mismatch is there, because you also have to believe this adult relationship going on here.
Right.
The emotions come through. The emotions come through despite the weird characterization. And I think they nailed it at the end with that, that gut punch after the mind meld. Again, it's a moment where you don't have to have the dialogue. You just have to see it happen, see the tears come to her eyes, and you go, oh, okay, I get it now. And it's less about the quirky affectation of the character. It's just about two people who couldn't mesh for a number of reasons and then realize that they can't, and then she's got to go away. So they kind of saved it for me in that moment, even though it's still weird.
Yeah, it's never not going to be weird. And I think that's part of Lori Petty's charm as an actress is she seems to like to gravitate towards those roles in a way.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, I don't know if it was that the mind meld felt a little underbaked at the end.
Okay.
To me, it felt a little bit like
too easy, too fast, or
too. her reaction to it at the end makes me go, well, why didn't he do that? Why didn't he do that like 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They're not playing it for an, oh my God, I know you better than anyone has known anyone. Mm-hmm. They're playing it as a literal, here's my explanation. I can't really put this into words, but here's how wacky doo-doo we are as a species. Have a listen. And then she goes, the emotion's there on her face, but she also goes, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if that's her reaction, you should have fucking done that while you're on the planet.
Is there a message here, a moral meaning or message? What did you learn?
It's hard with these Vulcan emotion episodes. These episodes that focus on, in a way, what I would think of as very, and I think probably as Gene as it comes, the Vulcans suppressing humanity.
Yeah.
Because Gene Roddenberry seemed to project this wonderful pride in humanity and America and like what we could achieve, what was the best of us, and the fact that Kirk and McCoy were always like, you got to be a little bit more like us, Spock, if you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's always like that. It was, to me, that was Gene's message to me. Yeah. It was always like, this guy seems cool, but humans figured it out. We're good.
Yeah.
We're a little bit better than them.
Yeah.
So like when the message is, what is it? Is he saying he saved some heartache? Is he saying, is the outcome of this any better than it would have been had he pursued a relationship or had he emotionally turned her down? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that she reacts as such, where she goes, I get it now, like after the mind meld, it makes me go, well, then was the feeling mutual?
Well, that's quite a question.
It's not answered in a way that I'm like, it's like,
yeah.
What is the message? It's the message, as it should always be in Star Trek, is trust your gut. Okay. Be a human and have a good time.
I like that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Tuvok he's a respectable guy. He is a heroic figure on Voyager. We know that he is going to be faithful to his wife. He loves his family. Like, all these great attributes are there for them. So we don't think for a minute that he's suddenly going to get swept up in this thing with her. But the look at the psyche, I think, is really tragic. That this is what Vulcans go through, and this is how they think of their emotional lives. And I understand that Vulcans are different from humans, and it's a much more exaggerated kind of emotional response to things. But also, what if it isn't? What if they just haven't found a more constructive outlet for this? So, at the end, something the Vulcan Master says is grief, fear, anger, and especially love will never threaten you again. That's horrendous. That is just, that's the most tragic thing in the world right there, is to, you compared to Kirk, and, Kirk is the one who said, I need my pain. Yeah. Well, Kirk also needs his love. And he needs
the galaxy needs Kirk's love.
Yeah, well, we all do, of course. Yeah. He needs all of these things, Yes. That is a complete existence, a complete experience, So you can kind of understand the logical reasons that Vulcans would choose to suppress their emotions for their own good and for the good of the society and whatever. But again, this is so tragic to just expunge that part out of yourself, and I think it doesn't lead them to be complete people,
Right. It's the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
Yeah, right. But and
Vulcans are trying to be the spotless mind.
They really are. Yeah,
and they just are. You know what? I've decided this now makes me think Vulcans are lazy.
they're just not going to deal with the thing.
I'm not going to do the work to get through this.
Yeah, pretend like it doesn't exist.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. So there's the lesson to humans that sure we need to temper our emotional reactions. I get that we should use logic and reason in order to make decisions in the way that we interact with others, but we need to celebrate our emotional sides because they make us whole. And I really hope that Tuvok finds, if he hasn't found it yet, I hope he finds the balance that he needs. And I know that he's not half human like Spock, but I'm going to go back to the motion picture again. I wish that Tuvok could have a moment like Spock, realizing that the simple feeling of friendship is far beyond logical comprehension.
Right.
Like, to me, that's one of the most beautiful moments in Star Trek. And I want a guy like Tuvok to have that.
I cannot disagree with you.
Well, you're not obligated to, but if you think of a disagreement... I was told
to come on this podcast and disagree with you, and I feel like I failed.
If you think of a disagreement later, you phone it in, okay?
We'll do.
All right. Mission Log is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. If you would like to support us directly, you can do so at patreon.com/missionlog for early access to shows and the Mission Log Discord. Our website is missionlogpodcast.com, and for more Star Trek news and discussion, visit trekmovie.com.
On the next Mission Log, Bliss.
Some of the music for Mission Log provided by Warp 11, online at warp11.com. Special thanks to consulting producers, Matt Esposito, Homer Frizzell, Julie Miller, Mike Richards, Mike Shadwell, Paul Shadwell, and David Takechi. By running a comparative analysis of multiple cultural databases, I must inform you that the most dangerous emotion is actually hangry. End transmission.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.